Hello, everybody. Again, this is episode 62 of the Sports Consigliere podcast. I'll be solo with this one. Jerry went to Giants training camp yesterday. I think he's getting IVs all day today, so he's not going to be with us. So it's just going to be me and a special guest. Our next guest went 28-0 this season and won the Group 2 state title. His second, his back-to-back title, third since 2011. First undefeated program since 1981 for a public school, and first undefeated program since '08 since Don Bosco did it. He was the 2025 High School Division II Coach of the Year for American Baseball Coaches Association, and 25th season as a as a coach. I think 22 at Governor Livingston. He eclipsed his 500th win. I think he's up to 504 wins. It's our pleasure to introduce the one and only Chris Roof. Coach, congratulations and happy anniversary. I saw that you posted yesterday. So I had to add that in there. So
you better, Jim. I'll get in trouble, man.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
listen, it's a pleasure to be on, man. Finally.
My daughter's got a couple more years. I don't want any F's just because I didn't say it. So
don't worry about that, man. Your daughter's awesome. Don't worry.
Yeah, but and in the intro, I think I left off Union County Championship, everything else. But I read somewhere that genes and zip code really make up a personality. So you had the unique opportunity to coach at the school you went to. So what was it like growing up in Berkeley Heights, and how has it kind of shaped you as a coach and a person?
It's a great question. It does mean a lot to me. And that's a big reason why I left Millburn. I was a teacher at Millburn, not to bore you, at the beginning of my career. The 1 year I was a teacher, I was a varsity assistant still with Bill Howard, who's my mentor, who's my head coach at Governor Livingston, who I, love to death. Then the second year was a varsity assistant at Millburn, which was very tough because all I knew was GL baseball. And then the next 3 years, I was the head coach at Millburn High School, and I loved it. And there was great people. I made a lot of friends I'm still friends with. But when they came calling about me coming back, at first I did not want to come back. I was very happy where I was at Millburn. We were very successful, and just in life, I was just very happy. But at the end of the day, what I thought about was that it was home, and it's where I played. It's where I wear the uniform, same field. So that outweighed everything. And, the first year we were actually 13-13, and knock on wood, that was the only year I've ever been 500. But from there, we've really skyrocketed and have kept the tradition. And I'm really proud of what we've done the last 22 years, if you count COVID, really 21 years playing. But growing up in town, like anything, Jim, too, like wherever you grew up, it's different. I guess you could probably take the positives and negatives from how the town is, but, I truly love both, Mountainside and Berkeley Heights. And again, I'm very, honored to be the coach of GL and to have two baseball crazy communities, feeding high school.
And some of the kids for that first championship, I know Magic Johnson said one of the best memories of his life was winning a high school championship. Here's a player that went on one of the all-time great NBA players, but he won a high school championship in high school, in college, and then in NBA. So for the kids that come back, like, how meaningful was that first championship for you and for the program?
I mean, listen, it was incredible. You said it. I mean, these are, I was lucky enough when I played at Montclair State University when I was a freshman. And, we won a national championship, and we actually went back to the College World Series my sophomore year. But, it was incredible. But to me, being the leader of the program, having assistant coaches that are my friends and doing it with your friends and doing it with the kids who bought in to your culture and stuff like that, it's truly amazing. Our third year, we in 06, we went to the state final and lost to Hanover Park.
Okay.
Back in 99, when I was an assistant with Bill Howard, we won our first state championship. So to have 5 state championships since 1999 to me is very special. So we finally got our first one in 2011 with a really good group beating West Essex. We got our, my second personal one in 2015. And then going back to back last year and this year has just truly been incredible.
Well, I mean, it is, and I think between you and I guess I'm doing the research for the show, Bill Howard. I mean, I guess there's only been two coaches at the school, so just the continuity of it.
Yeah, we joke about that all the time. He lives in Leland, North Carolina. I'm actually going to see him. I'm going on vacation down at Myrtle Beach. He lives about an hour and 10 north, but every summer, probably for the last 11, 12 years, we always get together. We go to a Myrtle Beach Pelicans minor league game, go to dinner, and just talk. And it's very special that we get to spend some time because we were very close. And the transition from being a player, him being my coach, to then being his assistant, and then now he was actually the athletic director for a few years. But just basically, our friendship just means the world to me. And a lot of the stuff that I learned was through him in terms of doing the right thing on and off the field, discipline and stuff like that. So it means a lot to me, our relationship.
And then just looking at this season, 28-0, coming off a state championship. I know you used the analogy of the Buffalo. I mean, I heard this 2 weeks ago. Just listen to my self-help books. But like there's an author, Rory Vaden. He used the analogy about a buffalo in comparison to cows, where cows try to outrun the storm, and the buffaloes run towards the storm. So you definitely had being a state championship, and just a friend of mine played football at Clark, and he would always say, "Oh, Berkeley Heights." He goes, "Our coach would amp us up and says, look at them up there. They're up on that hill. They're looking down at you." So you always had a special attention from the people that you're facing. So how did that kind of translate into this season and the ripping off 28 wins?
And I love how you use the word, the hill. I mean, that's a big thing with us. I mean, we have a big sign on it, and that's something that we take a lot of pride in.
Yeah.
And I mean, we have a beautiful field down in Berkeley Heights, Snyder Turf Field.
Yeah.
But, given the choice, we'd rather play up on a hill. We want people to take that long walk. And again, that's our special place. Every year as a coach, you try to find something to try to motivate the kids. And I put together a coach's clinic back in December, and I had a coach named Adam Mosley, who's a big-time coach down in Hoover, Alabama, and he used that in Buffalo, and I liked it. And again, like coaches, coaches steal from everyone. So if you don't, you're not a good coach. That means you think you know it all, and you don't. But the Buffalo, like you said, my thing to the kids was everybody's coming after us, and what are we going to do? Are we going to, like you said, run away, or are we going to run towards them? And I think you could say we ran towards them. 20
Yeah, well, definitely. But I guess, playing baseball, I mean, I didn't play baseball, just growing up and playing the sport, but, and even then like Little League, but, somebody misses a sign, somebody gets sick, somebody breaks up with their girlfriend, you get a hot pitcher, but, you didn't have that this year. You overcame every time the team overcame, which is something, special. And then to go undefeated, like I've been watching baseball a long time. Like, the game of baseball, like Bill Parcells says sometimes, it goes, sometimes God has a say in some of these games. Like you think you're going to be prepared, everything else, but something goes wrong that's out of your control.
We had somebody looking over us all year. And that was Andrew Adornato, who his two kids were Alex and Addison were on our team, and he passed away, unfortunately, on May 2nd. Yeah. And, he was the guy that gave us a special, I'll say, powers to get us over the hump. I mean, like you said, you talked about it. There was a 1-0 game that we won at Somerset Patriots against a Boston College commit from Burley. We won 1-0. We won the county semifinal against Maldonado from Elizabeth, who's going to Rutgers, 1-0. And then in the state tournament alone, the first game, again, you throw out seeds when it comes to baseball. And sure, conference teams, but Point Pleasant Borough had us 5-1 in the 5th inning, and we came back to win that game. And then the game to get us into the final, we beat Raritan when we were down 2-0 with 2 outs and a runner on second. We came all the way back and did that. And we actually had 2 strikes on the batter. Michael Novotny single up the middle to make it 2-1, and then Michael Basile double into the gap to tie the game, and then Ryan Pappas came and won the game for us. But I think the biggest thing was that we had kids that were battle tested from the year before, and kids in general are obviously talented. But listen, you could be talented, but you could also be mentally weak. We're not that. We're mentally strong, and there's a lot of things that we do, the way we practice. Our mental training, we do stuff before every practice. So like I said, I mean, these are things that I've learned over the course of the years. I didn't know this in year 3 or 7 or 9. I still learn every single year. And I think if you're a coach of any sport, any year, and you're open-minded to getting better, then you will.
Yeah. Well, just talking about Andrew, like just full disclosure, we're in the same town, but we grew up in the same town, and it was a horrible news. And you said two of the players on your team were on the GL team, but how did you take that and use that message as far as what you told me to the team? Because listen, I mean, for the kids to recover from that's I mean, it's tragedy. It was tragedy. So I mean, and did you ever have to deal with that in any of your time coaching, or
no? Knock on wood, no. But I still remember getting a call from one of the parents going to school on that Friday, and that we had a game, and we were actually had some set up with the Phillies on Sunday, like a little trip with Kevin Long, got us tickets and stuff like that. So we had at lunchtime, we brought the whole program in, and I think almost everybody knew, but obviously there were people that did not, and we just canceled everything for the whole weekend. And it was tough because you're dealing with kids that are at that time probably 14 to 18 year old range, and it's the first time that some of them are going through something like this, a death of a person that they knew, that was a coach or
because I mean he was influential in the youth level for a lot.
Oh my gosh!
So I mean,
baseball and softball, and like I said, Andrew was definitely looking over us, and the fact that I still remember that afternoon going over to Adornato's house, and the whole team was there in the basement, and just the support system for both Alex and Addison were incredible from everybody in the community, from both communities, and the fact that both boys played the same day that their father was buried really says a lot. It's just again, you get choked up just thinking about what transpired. So again, at the end of the day, whenever my time is done as a coach, it's like this is a year that I will obviously never forget. Just because there were so many highs and lows, but obviously more highs. But going through something that was very, very difficult.
Yeah, and then just turning the conversation back to you. I mean, you were a good athlete in Berkeley. I mean, you scored 1,000 points in basketball. So, did you ever think that would have been your path? Because Berkeley Heights is not really, or Governor Livingstone is not really a school. They have solid teams, but when you guys had your run, I think Dave Boff was also on your team. Coach Roseville Catholic. Now he's down in Asbury Park.
Yeah.
But just getting back, the 1,000-point score. Did you ever think that would have been your path? I mean, scoring 1,000 points in high school is a feat. You ever think that? Did you have any offers to play in college for basketball, or?
No. Great question. I was like a 6'2" center who could jump, so I don't think anybody wanted a 6'2" center. But I was very fortunate to play for legendary coach Jerry Britt and his assistant John Tice, who I learned a lot from. But I also played varsity baseball as a freshman with Bill Howard. So I was very fortunate to play 2 varsity sports as a freshman back then. That was a little bit different than how it is now. Listen, I love basketball. I was actually a head basketball coach for 3 years at Milburn also. But no, I mean, like I said, all my free time I put in for baseball. So, I sort of felt bad with that, but I did enjoy it when I was in season, and I do love the sport. Don't get me wrong. I love college basketball more so than NBA. I mean, I'll just watch the Knicks.
Yeah. Me too. So, But as far as, do you encourage your players to play different sports all off season, or and like when like I heard like Boomer Esiason, like up until like just he would say, I played basketball, but up until my sophomore year, I kind of realized that football was going to be my path, that maybe I should just concentrate on that. So do you encourage your players to?
Yeah, unfortunately, Jim, you see that nowadays more so than we did when we grew up.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's really, really tough to play three sports. I think you can. It takes a
Yeah.
special athlete just because the three sports are pulling that kid, especially in the summertime. But two sports is doable. I think you should do it as long as you possibly can. But you do tend to see kids, like you just said, when they get to their sophomore, junior year, and now they think that they have an opportunity to play at the next level, that they have to stop. But at the end of the day, those college coaches who I talk to, many of them really want to see multi-sport athletes.
Yeah.
You know, I know just recently we had a bunch of maybe 5 basketball kids that were basketball kids their whole life stop play, which bothered me. But they did it for certain reasons in terms of feeling that they could play at the next level and do this and that. But doesn't mean that I agree with it, but I understand it. But yeah, I do. I love it. Right now we have a good mixture of freshmen and sophomores in our program that are big with football and basketball. So that are playing, like I said, 2 to 3 sports.
But get back to yourself, just talking like you're playing in Union County. I mean, just the coaches that you played against. You had Bob Brewster at Westfield. You had Gordon Lamatier, who passed away at Union. You had Ray Corn at Elizabeth. So just your high school days, you're playing at Governor Livingston. You just reflect a little bit about that, and just seeing the players that went through Union County at that time.
Yeah, it was a great time. It was a great time. It was really good baseball. Like you said, I mean, guys like Jim Dietz from Summit. You had Paul Miller from New Providence. You had some really good. I'm forgetting his name. The coach at Rawley was there for a very long time, and they had some really good teams. So it's funny though how you see how the dynamic of the county has changed in terms of when I was in high school. From '89 to '92, who was good versus now how it is, and even how the conferences are broken down and stuff like that. How Governor Livingston's a Group 2 school is now in the upper division, which again, listen, we should be. But back then it wasn't like that. You know what I mean? So you had the Watchung where you had the big boys, but like I said, times have changed a little bit for Westfield. Now Westfield's always been good. Cranford wasn't the powerhouse that they are nowadays. Back when I was playing, they were good, but nothing like they were now. So like anything, which what we talk about, things change.
Yeah. And then just for yourself, I know getting those kids going to the next level. I mean, you had some kids that are not playing, but they're still associated with schools. Like you had your one player, I saw you posted, he had the NCAA championship down at LSU. So like, and having a previous guest on a podcast, he said, most athletes are more tied to the show. I mean, tied to the school. They're have the ability to come back and also contributors. So a lot of athletes that are associated with school, maybe just being a manager, are still the school is still kind of forms them, and they always come back. So do you encourage kids that can't play, or do you encourage kids to kind of shoot high and maybe come down, like try to get a D1 and you always play D3, or like how do you have that conversation with each kid?
And Jim, another great question. I am very truthful to the kids and to the parents, and you have to be. You can't be one of these services that you pay for, which my kids don't do that. And they know they have a good resource with me. But I tell them the truth. And like I said, sometimes the truth hurts, but they respect it. We try to mold it around their academic profile also. And right now we have some really high academic kids that are looking to go play somewhere. I mean, we have an opportunity with the 26 class that have 8 current kids play college baseball, in the fall of 27, which is pretty exciting. Not in terms of graduating all this. But that is definitely something really cool that we, looking forward to. But, you mentioned kids who were shooting to maybe go to a big school and really love baseball and want to be a part and say, hey, yeah, if I know, I'll call. And that's what happened with Jonathan Schmidt I made a call down to LSU, and he has been absolutely incredible down there. He's more than a team manager. You saw him; he was in uniform. He dogpiled in Omaha, which is a memory itself. But he just got a call the other day, and he called me right away and says, "Coach, I'm getting promoted to assistant director of baseball operations," which is really a big time job for this kid.
Yeah, well,
I'm so proud of him. And we go ahead.
For SEC, I mean that's a that's a big time program. So I mean,
and Jim, we have another kid who's just graduated, Vinny Graham, who was a right-handed pitcher for us this year, who is going to another SEC school, Alabama, and he's going to be a baseball manager too. So how cool is that?
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to be on the diamond, but you can be. There's a lot of opportunity, a lot of opportunity. So, but I mean, it's funny you say that because I watched like the kids. Like I was watching MLB Network. I guess they showcased Corona High School out in California, and then like they had somebody come in, transfer in. But for you, it was unique because you're not a non-public where you can kind of recruit people. All these kids were grown up to the system, and I think that you set the boundaries very early. I remember, I think my kids were signed up for T-ball, and you said, you came and did a speech, like you set the boundaries on what to expect and what your program was. So I thought that was pretty unique. But you also don't go out and have like a player change of his dress or anything like that. All these kids are homegrown, which is unique. So
yeah, I mean, for the most part, yes. It's something that we follow, like our secret formula, if you want, so to speak. And you have to really get into the youth in both communities and sort of mold them your way. And they need to know who you are and your assistant coaches are. And my assistant coaches need to know who these kids are. It's very, and get to know the parents. I've mentioned on other podcasts and just the people alone talking to them that, there's coaches that stay away from parents. I think you have to have a relationship with parents. Again, parents who you can really trust. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's very important. So, with that come good relationships.
Do you find has relationships with parents changed over 25 years? Because I remember, like Chris Mullins said, here's a player that was on the Dream Team. He goes, I don't think I remember my father coming watching a game. But now parents are like super invested. They don't miss a game, which is great. But do you think that has your parent relationship changed as far as throughout the years, or have you seen that parents have players change? They have the expectation a little more? Are we more sports driven crazy?
Yeah, it is. I think it is. I think as a whole, in every single sport, it's. I think youth sports is the number one problem, to be honest with you. But in terms of relationships, from back when I started as a head coach, in 2001 to, just this past year, I don't, in terms of the personal relationships with the parents. But I do see how parents are more invested, I guess, now. And again, I think that has come with more travel organizations. Yeah. And just more showcase type events. And, listen, at the end of the day, all the parents are trying to do is give their best for the kids.
Sure.
And I get that, and I respect that. It's once you step over that line, and I guess, in my 25 years, I haven't had too many people like that, maybe because I'm a straight shooter and I'm honest with them. So I know what you're saying, though. You see stuff on social media, coaches travel going after, youth coaches going after. It's just, I guess, because there wasn't as much social media back then. You know what I mean? So
yeah. But I guess for you, I think you set the boundaries early, and then everybody kind of knows, what to expect. And then also too, winning helps.
You're right. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you're right. They know what we're doing. Me and my staff, we are very successful. So it's hard to criticize him. You're always going to get people whose kids don't play, he should be playing. Listen, at the end of the day, everybody gets an opportunity. They just have to get the job done. That's the bottom line. We play the best kids. I think that's what everybody should understand this program. It doesn't matter if you're a freshman versus a senior, Mount. It doesn't matter. The best kids play. And if you do that, then you're going to be okay. I mean, at the end of the day, you're a public high school. So, we have 6 starters back and our top pitcher, Keith Mann, back next year. But in 27, we're going to be a very different team, and we're going to be very young. We're going to compete, and we have some talent, but we're not going to be at the level that we've been at the last 3 years. But that's normal for public high schools.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I heard the term like you don't own the uniform, you rent the uniform.
That's
So
true.
it gets passed on to somebody else. So,
Mhm.
but yourself, I know you're involved in Gamers Baseball. Like, how's that relationship and that? How does that? Would you recommend like a young coach getting involved with a like an off-site program
Yeah, I
like that?
mean, those guys have been wonderful. I think it was around COVID. I got introduced to them with my daughter with softball, and my daughter plays softball. She just actually finished. She's going to be a senior at Scotch Plains, and my son is a rising freshman who's been in the program since he's been at least 10. So, I have two assistant coaches that are on staff at GL, Mike Colsar, who's the general manager there, who's our JV coach for the last 2 years, and Pat Falhan, who's a volunteer assistant on the JV level, who's a part of it. But the answer to your question is yes, because they're good people. Both owners, Hassani Whitfield and John Lewis, are tremendous human beings that care so much about the kids. And I'll be honest, there's some really, really good club organizations in New Jersey, unbelievable, nationally ranked and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, right now, and this is part of the problem, again, with parents, Jim, is that, everybody's chasing these trophies at Diamond Nation and here and there and, national rankings and this and that when they're 10, 11.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Like, when you really look at the whole scheme of things, it's about the training that you get. And I can honestly say that Gamers, Untamed Baseball, is the best in terms of training and what they do. They have coaches that are truly amazing. And again, like I said, that care about the kids. So, I mean, I have a very small role in the place in terms of, I'm really just, part of like this coaches clinic that we help run. That's about it. But who's to say that I won't, when time comes? I mean, I can retire in 4 more school years. I mean, I still want to coach. So maybe that's something that I think about when I'm done teaching. But, like I said, I still want to coach baseball at GL for a very long time.
Well, you find like the situational baseball is lost. So these kids are playing so many games that the situational, like, I've ever played, like all we did was situations, first. Yeah. So,
Jim, another great question. I agree with you 100%. And you see it in Major League Baseball today.
Yeah. Well,
when you watch,
you want to throw up and watch this.
You got that right, because the analytics don't want to give up an out here or there. But what people don't put into consideration is let's put some pressure on our opponent. Pitchers are your best athletes, but how many times do we see when they actually do bunt, maybe in the playoffs or something, they throw the ball away or they bobble it? So that's a big thing I believe in, is putting pressure on your opponent. That was something that for 20 some years I saw straight up with Dennis McCaffrey for a very long time at Cranford. Now he's at St. Joe's Metuchen. Is you have to put pressure on your opponent. And on the flip side, that's something that we really practice every single day, is defending that, because that's the thing that can really hurt you. But that's a lost art. We had a team this year that didn't really bunt that much. If you look at our offensive numbers, we didn't have to. But I will tell you, when we were when we was 0-0 in the bottom of the 4th inning in the state final against West Morris at Woodridge, we attempted 4 bunts that inning. That was more than we bunted all year. And again, one time, with our 4-hitter first and second, they didn't think we were going to bunt. We bunted for a hit. No one was covering the base, and we did. We had back-to-back singles to make it 4-0. Then we tried another attempt where he got hit by a pitch. And then we did another bunt attempt that was thrown away to third base. And then we did another bunt attempt that was a force out at third. But you have to put pressure on your opponent.
Yeah, well, very well said. But and you talked a little bit about your daughter. How great was it you as a father? You won the Union County Championship, and then she won the Union County Championship in the fashion in the game that she had. How great was you? I mean, winning the state championships, that's all great, but that's still your daughter. How was that?
It stinks in the first part that, but this is what I signed up for, and this is, my lifestyle, and this is, but again, I get not really see her play that much during the spring season because that's when I'm coaching. But like I said, summer, fall, stuff like that, I can see both of my children and spend a lot of time with them training wise in the wintertime. But That was special. That's something I'll never forget. Because of the weather, this and that, we actually played on the same night.
Yeah.
So the coolest moment I'll always remember is that after we won and we were celebrating in right field on the baseball field at Kane, and I then taking some pictures, and I knew I had to race over to her game because they started I think an hour later than us, or I forget what it was. As soon as I was getting back to the first base dugout to grab my bag, and I was soaking wet, and it was a little chilly, so I remember shivering. People thought like when they would hug me that I was sweating. I'm like, no, I wasn't sweating, because that'd be a little gross. But I remember getting my bag and heading towards the third base left field side to the softball field, and I heard her huge roar. The place got loud and crazy because it was a nice crowd. And they said, "Home run by Emily Roof," and I'm like, wow, it sent chills, even though they took a lead with that, and they actually held on and won. And a really cool moment outside of obviously having my family there and celebrating with my daughter was having my team stay there and say, "No, coach, we're going to be there. You miss, your daughter. We're going to be there to support." And the really cool thing was, and our rallying cry was a moose thing. Like they love the moose. Scotch Plains girls started doing the moose now, and we had a nice picture. And I actually have it framed. They gave it to me and my daughter, the hang up of the GL baseball team at home plate, the softball field, and the Scotch Plains softball team all together, both champions doing the moose thing. So,
nice.
It's really, really cool.
Yeah, well, I don't want to take too much more of your time, so I'll just finish up with a couple of questions, Coach. I know, but Garden State Baseball Clinic, I know that you're deeply involved with that, and I think you met some, people. I know you referenced Kevin Long. I think he's been in the game a long time. As far as I know, he's with the Yankees now at Philly. But how did you get involved with that? And what about your next event that you're having with Garden State Baseball Coaches Clinic?
Yeah. Thank you. The Garden State Coaches Clinic is a clinic that we run. I helped start it. I get all the coaches. This is my little baby that I do with the Gamers facility and the New Jersey High School Baseball Coaches Association. We've come together and we run it. I think we're going on year 5 now, and we do it. The last year we did it in a hotel right on Route 22 in Springfield, and we're going to do it again there. The date already is Friday, December 5th. It's like 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. We got a good lineup that I'm working on already. I've already got a guy named Ty Blankemeyer, who's an assistant coach at Vanderbilt, who his father's a legendary coach, Ed Blankemeyer.
Sure.
Monty Lee, who's a big-time hitting and former head coach at Clemson. He's now at South Carolina. Eric Tyler, who's a hitting coach now at UVA, was at Duke. I got Steve Tripper, who's the head coach at Stetson, and I'm working on, some other coaches that I have in the mix right now.
The Garden State Coaches Clinic, we'll promote that on our social media. And also, you mentioned Andrew Adonato's the Memorial Golf Outings will be Monday, October 6th. We'll make sure that we'll put that on our social media. But Coach, I just wanted to say, thank you for coming on. And it's been a real, I mean, I love high school sports. I follow it. I follow the team. I follow it every year, good, bad, or indifferent. I followed your career. I mean, I think I saw you, play Essex County Baseball League probably way back when. I think you were playing or one of these. What is it? So I saw you play, and you're good on the field. Good with these kids, and really, nobody's really besides their parents. Some coaches are no more influential than their high school coach. But listen, Coach, I really thank you for the time. I know you're busy. You got summertime, and you got 2 kids playing sports. But I really appreciate the time, Coach, and I really will. It's good. It'll be good seeing you again. So.
Yeah, same here. I'd love to see you at a game. Give you some gear you up a little bit. But I appreciate you having me on, and I followed you from afar, and you do an amazing job, and keep doing this good work because you're really good at it.
Yeah, well, if you say so, I don't know. Your lips to God's ears, but maybe. But anyway, Andrew, I don't know Memorial Golf Outings and Get Suburban Golf Course. We'll put that on social media. So they're also looking for donations. I guess for some of the donations will go to GL Baseball. But this has been a labor of love. I just kind of 2 kids went away to school. My wife's like, "Well, what are you going to do with yourself?" So I created this podcast, and I've come across some, New York Giants, Coach K interviewed. So I've come across some really very good creative outlets. So I appreciate that that you're watching it. But this episode was produced by Dave Sturcio and Coach, I can't thank you enough, and thanks for coming on. But this is great, and good luck next season. I don't know how you're going to top this, but but it's been a great ride, all around. So God bless you, God bless the family, and God bless the Highlanders. So and enjoy
Thanks,
the rest
Jim.
of the summer.
Appreciate it, man. You too, and God bless you. And Dave, thank you very much. It was nice meeting you.